So apparently something is coming out in the next couple months, at least according to the CEO of Zebec, which of course we all know by this point is Simon. And I'll get more into this and explain what that is, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, and how also, even though I'll discuss later on as to how we've almost seen around a 7% recovery in the past 24 hours. But again, let's get into what could very well be coming out in the next couple of months. So, did you know that Simon recently, when he was being interviewed by Paul Barron in his podcast or whatever, basically what happened was, if we take a look at that video right there, which of course I can't show it, but at the 10-minute 56-second mark, basically Simon said something along the lines of how, and I quote, right? More so along the lines, he said, "We haven't announced it yet publicly, but we have an enterprise card that will be coming out in the next couple of months." Wow, that's pretty massive right there. Now, before I get into that as well, I want to mention when I first saw that, interview, Simon kind of reminded me of Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man. Yeah, could you imagine though, if let's say Simon, he got casted hypothetically as the next Spider-Man or whatever, and then he's like, doing the web thing, and then the thing is like a Zebec logo. But yeah, besides that point, I'm just joking. But besides that, again, why do I think this could be a pretty big, I think, achievement when it comes to Zebec? If let's say in the next couple of months they do release an enterprise card. Well, it's because I think if anything, it opens the doors for more enterprise adoption, which of course is what a lot of projects out there naturally want. Granted, if we take a look at the Zebec cards as of right now, I would say that it's kind of more so geared towards the retail market as of right now. Like, we see decent retail adoption, but of course we haven't really seen, kind of that mass scale enterprise adoption like what some people want. So if let's say in the next couple months they do release an enterprise card, that I think would really kind of bolster sort of Zebec's focus when it comes to its cards, because for quite a while Zebec has been really focused on the cards. And sure, some people like to say, oh, it hasn't had the best adoption. Some people like to say that the adoption is not that bad. But you know what? It's going to be dependent on a case-by-case basis. But I think the release of that enterprise card would really kind of elevate things to just a different level. But again, it's going to be coming out allegedly in the next couple of months. So we'll wait and see. Now, some people have been asking me, like, how come Zebec recently had a Ripple partnership? And also on top of that, we recently saw Simon, the CEO of Zebec, announcing how there's going to be an enterprise card that will be coming out in the next couple months. People have been wondering, how come Zebec lately hasn't been announcing this type of stuff, like, officially from their, official channels and stuff like that? People have been wondering why. And personally, I have no idea why either. It seems very bizarre because they usually don't do that. Typically, they do, announce things once they've actually, officially had that partnership or whatever. Usually they announce stuff like that, but this time they haven't. Who knows what's going on? Did the team get lazy? I mean, I highly doubt that because, I still see some updates. Like recently I made a video about Zebec appearing in a Bundesliga soccer match. So they're still updating about that, but who knows, right? Maybe they still have things to kind of, I guess, do behind the scenes in terms of polishing it, like in terms of the Ripple partnership. Who knows, right? I'm just saying. Or maybe in terms of the enterprise card, maybe they haven't had the full details yet, so they haven't officially announced it. Who knows? But again, it doesn't seem the usual in a sense where usually they announce stuff like this pretty quickly if they have a partnership, but this time they haven't really done that. We've seen like Simon announce the upcoming release of the enterprise cards in the Paul Barron podcast. We've seen that. We've also seen Simon at XRP Las Vegas announce it live, like in person like that, in regard to a Ripple partnership. When it comes to Zebec, we've seen that, but we haven't seen them actually post about it officially. But we'll wait and see, right? Who knows what's really going on behind the scenes, but at least they're still doing something. At least that's the way I view it. Now, granted though, Zebec, yes, an almost 7% recovery in the past 24 hours. What is the reason? Well, it's probably because Bitcoin recently reached 80 grand. There's been a slight pullback though, but I'm just saying, when it comes to Zebec, it's really dependent, I think, in terms of the movement in any sort of significant way. It's probably going to depend on a broader change in market sentiment, which we haven't really seen because Bitcoin hasn't been back at 90 grand, 100 grand, and so on, let alone, having this sustained I guess, positioning at above 80 grand. We haven't seen that for quite some time now. So of course, Zebec, due to its size, due to it being ranked 108th in the world as of right now in terms of market cap, due to actually having a market cap as of right now of around 340 million, it's just going to be pretty difficult for it to just randomly go on an independent rally of its own like that. But to me, that's not such a big concern anyways, because I'm in here for the long term. So, you know what? Short-term price movements, my mindset isn't even hours, days, weeks, months. That's not my mindset. Maybe it might have to be yours, but we'll wait and see. But also, the way I view it is this. I think by Zebec, right, if they actually do release the enterprise card, that's going to be pretty massive. I think at that point, it's going to graduate beyond just a project that's really focused on the retail side of things in kind of a perspective type of way, because a lot of people always think about it, oh, it's just kind of focused on the retail side of things when it comes to the cards. But I think releasing the enterprise card, that would be a total sort of game changer, kind of like a needle mover, right? I think it would kind of move the needle in terms of the sentiment. And also, let's keep in mind, we've seen good enterprise adoption when it comes to Zebec. In the case of payrolls, we've seen that. It has well over 100 payroll enterprise clients. We've seen that already. But we haven't really seen kind of the cards experience that sort of attention from the enterprise side of things. So that would be kind of a, I guess, accomplishment if it could do that. So I'm still waiting for that. Why is it taking a couple months? Some people may be wondering. I mean, probably takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. That's what I'm assuming. And if I think about the progression that Zebec has had, like ever since its kind of peak last year, even though it's had a pullback ever since its peak last year, I feel like it's actually been pretty impressive, because for a project that kind of just became popular last year, achieving ISO 20022, seeing MICA, seeing SOC2, having a Ripple partnership, having a Stellar partnership, having an Algorand partnership, and now even in the next couple months looking to launch an enterprise card, I don't think that is an indicator of a project being lazy, right? I think if anything, there's some effort going on maybe behind the scenes, even though I am not telling anyone to do anything. Furthermore, besides that, did you know that actually, because of that Ripple partnership, the amount of holders when it comes to Zebec recently surpassed 104,000, and now it's almost at 104,500 holders. So what I was saying before, right? Remember when I said in one of my previous videos that the Stellar partnership caused Zebec primarily, at least many people would agree, that Zebec went from around 96,000 holders to over 100,000 because primarily of that Stellar partnership. But then what happened? When that Ripple partnership got announced, even though, right, again, Zebec hasn't officially announced it, it's only from Simon announcing it at XRP Las Vegas, and then some people were recording it. So then, of course, we heard about that. Even though the news that came out when it comes to that was relatively sort of hidden, like people had to really kind of find it, we're already starting to see the quote-unquote ripple effects, if you get what I mean. Pun intended, of course, because even with that, we're already seeing a slight amount of increase in terms of the amount of holders when it comes to Zebec, I think primarily due to the Ripple partnership. So imagine what would happen if they actually officially announced that Ripple partnership, or maybe even Ripple themselves announced it. Who knows? That's the thing. And like I mentioned before, right, in one of my previous videos, if the Stellar partnership did that to the amount of holders when it comes to Zebec, imagine what Ripple partnership can actually do. And we're starting to see, you know, some of those quote-unquote ripple effects as of right now because of the Ripple partnership. You know, you get it. But as of right now, I just thought this was pretty cool, pretty amazing. So of course, naturally, I wanted to make a video on it, but I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day. It's been Lee the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.